Hello and welcome to the Generational Gamer. Today we are going to review the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cowabunga Collection. I would like to thank Konami for sending me the code for this game. Dare I say, a Konami code. Let me tell you at the very beginning that I loved these games as a kid. The original arcade game was one I pined for over and over and over again. And eventually, I bought a countercade. Had this come out, I wouldn't have bought the countercade. Okay, I have seen the videos too. I understand that there is some concern about the online play. And you'd be right. The online play at this point with the arcade games is borderline unplayable. I tried it myself, and you'll see it here. Alright, enough of this. Moving into the actual games themselves. Growing up, I loved the arcade games. We didn't have a whole lot of money to waste in an arcade, and that's exactly how my parents saw it. I had no money of my own because I was a kid. By the time Turtles 2 came around, I had a little bit more disposable income, and I was able to play the game a bit more. Plus, and I cannot stress this enough, I had the SNES game. Awesome, awesome game. And to be perfectly frank, that is the one I prefer out of this entire collection. Now, I own the game. I can play it on my Super NT. I have played it on my Super NT on a stream here. It was one of the defining games of my young teen years. I have it now in this collection, along with its arcade counterpart and the arcade predecessor. My grandmother got me the Turtles 2, the arcade game, for Hanukkah many years ago upon its release. And I loved that game. Now you will notice in this game you have a feature that allows you to turn off sprite flicker. My retro USB AVS has this feature as well. It essentially doubles the sprites. So, it makes it a little bit more playable. But you can also disable slowdown for the NES games. I never had Manhattan Project. I was already playing Super NES by the time it was released. I never cared for Tournament Fighters, so I'm going to put them to the side in this review. I may actually stream them with a buddy. See how online is with those. As for the GameBoy games, Fall of the Foot Clan was one I absolutely loved. I played the hell out of it. In fact, on that old green monochrome screen, I must say I saw some of the best graphics of the time. The sprites were real big. The turtles, although the whole game is really sluggish, it was a lot of fun. Now, I never played the sequels on Game Boy. I am focusing primarily on the ones I played as a kid. Now, let's switch gears a little bit and do a little comparison between the arcade game and the NES original. So let's start with not only the arcade version of Ninja Turtles, but Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game. Now, I could talk about TMNT 1 for the NES, but let's not. Take a look at the difference in graphical quality here. Upon looking at them side by side, or even playing the NES game and then going back to the arcade, you see such a substantial difference. Not to say the NES game is bad, it's considerably a less powerful console, and that makes perfect sense. However, the overall gameplay, even the game just feels different. The emulation is pretty good, so there's no complaints there. Take a look at a little bit of this comparison. Look at the size of those balls! Now, you will instantly notice that the NES game keeps going. They really did double to triple the size of every level and add a few new ones, but they had to consoleize it. The arcade game is considerably shorter, as you can see here. I'm about to go in to fight Rocksteady, and in the NES version, I'm still playing. So here we are with the SNES and arcade versions of Turtles in Time. Both games are phenomenal, although I really do like the SNES version better. So take a look here at a side-by-side comparison of level 1 with Donatello fighting the Foot Clan. You can see that the SNES on the right does an admirable job of replicating the arcade experience. Clearly it's not quite the same, the graphics are a little choppier, and the Mode 7 is not quite as good, but I think overall it is the better game. Now, as for the entire collection, I can't give it a perfect 10 even with the rose-tinted goggles I have on. I love the games, almost all of them, but there are a few problems. These problems include, one, being online. Not a problem for me because I've never given a crap about online, but for many viewers and for many other reviewers, it's a huge problem. If online ever works, great. If it doesn't, I couldn't care less. I'd rather just play the games locally anyway. The other thing is, and this is something I noticed, I don't know if it's with the enhancements, but some of the games just don't feel exactly as I remember them. Not a bad thing, they are emulated, so there's always going to be the possibility that there's going to be some kind of change. But overall, you want to play these games? This is by far the best way to play them. Play them emulated. Stop and start so you don't have to constantly start over from the very beginning, especially on the first NES game and the Game Boy games. Overall though, I will say I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10. Why? Well, I'll give it an 8 out of 10 because I do like all the games, have to take off for online, and have to take off for not being exactly as I recall. In any case, that's it for me. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and have a good one.